This is April Pyatt, owner of Socialite Events, and you are watching the Flowgram.
If you ever get the opportunity to meet April, there are a few things that you'll notice immediately. Her natural beauty, her radiant smile, her ability to command respect by just her presence alone, and a high level of wisdom and insight. April is the owner of Socialite Events, a premier event planning business based in Durham, North Carolina. A few weeks ago, Corbin and I took the time to sit and talk to April. This is her story.
So April, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in South Carolina, from Hemingway, South Carolina, very, very small town. And my mom and dad are both from that area as well. My uncle actually attended Fayetteville State University. So I decided, why not? I did not want to. I was actually a little different. Most of my friends were going to schools in South Carolina, Clemson, USC, South Carolina State. And I just decided I wanted to start over and cut a different path for myself. So went to school where I did not know anybody and chose Fayetteville State University. Majored in computer science. I am very much so a country girl. Okay. I'd like to think I am. Cool. A country girl with the urban twist, you know. But yeah, so I realized how much of a country girl I was when I went to Fayetteville State and started to get to know these people from all these different areas and different walks of life, and realized how much I did not know about other places and other people. And so pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and got to know my line sisters who were from different areas.
Sure.
And so it's cool.
So have you always been sort of an event planner, or kind of have you always been good at that sort of thing, or like in that vein, or is it just something that you just chose to do, or did it choose you?
You know, it kind of fell into my lap just because of what I loved. I have probably always been the black sheep of the family. And so I was always the different one during holidays. I had a vision for how things should go. Whether they went that way or not was a whole different thing. But, and then, you know, once I got out of school and got my own place and started entertaining a little bit more, and putting my own things together, you know, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I like the end product. I like to see it all come together. And then helping friends with weddings, you know, and I had one of my best friends got married in Jamaica, the other best friend, you know, and she was getting married and helping her. And so you kind of catch the bug in doing all of that. So it was good.
Do you remember your first event?
I do. I do, yes. When you first start out, you are trying to make it happen. And so you will accept a little less than what I would accept now. And you probably will work a lot harder to pull it off. And so, yes, it was challenging, and it was, but at the same time, it was beautiful because it was my thing. It worked. It came together. We hustled to make it come together, but it came together really well.
Cool.
So, yeah.
What do you consider your aha moment? Like, when did you know that you had a gift to do this?
I think it was the first time I sent out an itinerary, and
wow.
I had a client who was just blown at the level of detail, but it came natural to me. It was like, well, no, but this is what you do, right? You know, and she was just so blown, but she felt so much better having that in her hand, and feeling like I know where everybody's going to be and what time they're going to be there, and how it's all going to come together. And just the peace of mind, even before you see the finished product of the event, the peace of mind that she had, and just looking at that, I was like, yeah, I think I'm on to something. I think I may be doing something slightly different, or putting an extra little something on this that somebody else is probably not giving. So that was kind of my, yeah, this is it moment. And to have a bride cry because they see how you pulled everything together. It's like, oh my gosh, you're really so happy. So it was a good thing.
So what separates you from all the other event planners?
I think it goes back to that level of organization, making this not just their event, making it my event also. I have a very vested interest in making sure that we stick to the budget. You know, if we go outside of the budget, it's usually because my client has pushed it outside of the budget, no matter what I say. But I am very, I make it very personal for me. You only get one shot at, you know, making this the perfect event. And so when you think of it that way, then you put all of your time and your energy into making sure that it is as perfect as it can be, and that the things that are not perfect, that nobody else knows about them. So, you know,
understood.
Yeah,
so,
that's important.
So let's just say I wanted to become an event planner, and I came to you and said, April, what is the best advice you could give me to start the event planning business? What would you tell me, or anybody else that may want to get into that?
I'd probably say, you know, start with the foundation of what you want it to be. You know, think about how you can make this the most professional looking website, contract, business cards, your materials. Make yourself as professional as you possibly can be, and be as organized as possible. Start out the way you want things to end. If you end up walking away from this business, you want to have the Michael Jordan, you know, Kobe Bryant kind of send off for this. So, but just start with the foundation of it. Build your website first. You know, when you come to a client, you want to be totally prepared. You want to be able to say, hey, listen, I'm starting a business, but do your due diligence, talk to a lawyer, you know, figure out what you need to do to be established properly as a business legally. And then start working that website and making sure that, you know, you at least have it ready so that when pictures hit, you can put them up and you can start showing your work, and do some networking. You know, there are tons of events in this area that allow you to get to meet other people in the event industry. And so you want to get to know them. You want to get cards. You want to start making a list of venues and DJs, and just, you know, have that master dream team list to be able to quickly get answers back to your clients. So.
Let me ask you a question. So how is it being a woman entrepreneur, and secondly, a Black woman entrepreneur? Have you encountered like any obstacles doing that? Kind of tell us what's your backstory on that.
Okay. So I guess as a woman, because of the line of work that I'm in, I don't know that I've run into any obstacles with being a female. I do think that being an African American female doing this, there is a little bit more pressure to make sure that level of professionalism, that I'm always bringing it. I've had clients from all ethnicities, backgrounds, and I don't want them to just think, oh yeah, I hired a Black planner. I want them to think I hired the best planner.
So are there any African American women who are entrepreneurs that you would say that you looked up to, that you modeled yourself after? I mean, I understand that you know, are your own brand.
Right.
But is there any that you say, hey, you know, I look at this person and realize that, you know, the model that she's using, I want to follow behind that. And then eventually, you know, create my own path so somebody could follow me one day. Right.
I always think about, her name is Mrs. Morant, and she was an African-American, she still is actually a huge African-American model in my grandmother's home church. And I remember as a child seeing her and saying there's something different about her. than from some of the other people that just may be operating within this community. She was always sharp. She was always well-spoken, poised. I later found out that she also went to an HBCU, and then I found out she was a Delta, and so I wanted to be, a graduate of an HBCU, and I wanted to be a Delta.
Wow.
And but she carried herself so well. She was a principal. Her husband was a lawyer, and so she was my first glimpse into African Americans doing fairly well, and I just knew that's what I wanted, and I wanted to gravitate towards whatever. I didn't necessarily go into education, but I just knew I need to be like her when I grow up.
That's interesting, because I was thinking you were going to say like Oprah or Shonda
absolutely.
Rhimes, but
absolutely. But fortunately, which is what we really want kids to see, we want them to see that in their community first.
Right.
I think that was almost even better that it started with her. Now, trust me, it did end up with the Oprahs of the world and the Shonda Rhimes of the world. I think that's absolutely fabulous. I learned a lot from Oprah, for sure, because I always looked at the way that she kind of maneuvered what I consider to be the system. I remember she used to get a lot of flack back in the 90s and when she was on air, because people challenged whether or not she believed in God, or they challenged how many African Americans she would have on her show, and just the look. And I think, it's important to play the game just right until you can create your own game. And then you really come out and you make an even bigger impact.
So, at what point would you say that you have not necessarily reached a pinnacle, but can say that, okay, this is where I dreamt of being, as far as being an entrepreneur?
I think it's when financially I will be able to walk away from the corporate world. It's financial independence, having the freedom to be able to travel and do some things and be a little bit more relaxed, but also to circle back around and give back to some of the more philanthropic things that I find more important. Be able to make an impact financially in the political realm with some politicians that may look like me. I think in the coming election cycles, we'll probably see a lot of people who are women and who are of other ethnic backgrounds that are running. I think we saw that recently. And so I'd like to make sure that we make a push for that. We need representation, people who can truly relate. And so I'd like to make sure that, for me, when I can feed into that, I think that's when I'll say thumbs up. You're there. So,
do you see yourself in politics? I've kind of heard that recurring theme.
I am intrigued by politics, but I'm also intrigued by just the sociology of the humans, people, the way they think in general. I think it helps me to be better in any of the other things that I take part in, even down to event planning, because when you actually get to know people and how they operate, then when you've got a client whose nerves are all over the place, or someone who's just all, jitters, you kind of know how to handle it a little bit better. But I do have a vested interest in politics, and it's important to know how things work in order to know what can be changed and what can't be changed. And so I dig it. I'm cool with politics.
What keeps you calm?
Music, quiet time to think.
You meditate?
I do meditate, yeah. I enjoy a nice quiet morning, a sunny day, just being unplugged sometimes. But when I am plugged in, I like a specific genre of music that just kind of keep me, cool. So, yeah.
You like trap music?
I do.
Really?
I have a wide range of music that I like. If you don't have a trap music playlist, you're really not trying to get yourself hyped at all, you know. Who's actually running to, you know, classical music? You're probably listening to some, you know.
Really?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You really have a trap music playlist?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't trust anybody who doesn't listen to trap music.
Seriously?
Just kidding. No. So that's,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite big verse?
It is actually from the song "I Got a Story to Tell," and I always thought about how, you know, it's like, you know, get in hand. I don't want to, you know. So it's really pretty corny, but I'm cool as a fan. Like, you know, I'm not worried, and I always try to think about that. Cool as a fan, get in hand. I don't want to, you know. So I always think about that because you just got to be cool as a fan, regardless of what's happening.
Downstairs, more time to think. My brain racing. She's telling me to stay patient. She don't know I'm cool as a fan, gat in hand. I don't want to blast her man, but I